Alright, welcome back to the Super Coach Nuff channel. In this video, we're going to do the first of our NFL draft strategy videos. And in this video, we're going to look at the Hero RB strategy. So essentially, Hero RB is where we want to pick one of the gun running backs that's sort of going to anchor our side. And then, focus on the other positions as they come. So I've set up a simple mock draft here on Rotoballer. It's not the world's best algorithm, but it does have some good customization, which, I've been using to sort of have a play around with some strategies for my upcoming drafts where we do have different positions and whatnot. And we'll probably, do a couple of those sorts of videos as well in the coming days and weeks. But with this one, it's just a simple draft PPR, so there'll be a little bit more emphasis towards the running backs, which is nice. It's going to be quick simulation, so basically all the other teams will get picked really quick. And I'll give myself 30 seconds to pick my team, but essentially, um, once I get in, I can pause it and we can discuss things as they crop up. Um, and yeah, so I'll begin the mock draft and get in the space. All right, and so essentially I'll get started. So essentially with this strategy, we do want to target a gun running back. And so part of the reason why I've picked in the second position is because I do want to get either McCaffrey or Eckler. So if I go to the draft board, you can see the first pick was Justin Jefferson. He's probably going to be, number one pick in most drafts, let's be honest. Kid's a freak. So we've got both options here, which is nice. My preference definitely is McCaffrey. So I'm going to pick McCaffrey, and then the auto draft's going to do its thing. And essentially from here on, we're looking to try and get positional advantages in other positions. So you can sort of see a bit of a summary there as we went through. I'll just go back to the draft board again and pause, which is nice. So if we look at how this draft's played out, excuse me, you can see there's a lot of teams going for double running back or double wide receiver. So one second, just try and clear my throat. No, excuse me, got it bad at the moment. So a couple of teams here going for a very much a double RB strategy with Saquon and Jonathan Taylor, for example. That's actually a pretty nice double up. If I could get that, I would take that. Bijan and Tony Pollard's actually a quite nice one as well. But then you can also see a couple of teams that are looking more at maybe a zero RB strategy. So Tyreek Hill and Amon-Ra St. Brown, both of them, you know, going wide receiver in the first two rounds. You'll also see Travis Kelce and Josh Allen have gone early. So, just looking at the trend, you can see there's a lot of running backs off the table already. So probably double RB wouldn't even be an option for me anyway. So Christian McCaffrey as our hero RB, I think, is definitely the way to go. Because that's the other thing with these drafts; they can be unpredictable. Um, there could be, a heap of wide receivers already off the board by the time we come back, and then maybe double RB would be the way to go if there was still like a Tony Pollard, a Jonathan Taylor, those sort of picks. So if we have a look at our options. In terms of wide receivers, which is probably the main targets we would like to get, Stefan Diggs is a great target. Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle's decent. Ramondre Stevenson, since Ezekiel Elliott's been signed by New England, I think he's going to slide down ADPs. Chris Olave, that sort of thing. So, we're really looking at wide receivers, and if we look at also QBs are going to be coming up soon. So Pat Mahomes, he's averaging about 14 in these drafts, and Jalen Hurts at 22. So if we have a look at the draft board, the fact that there's only one person drafting after us, means that we can get one of Mahomes or Hurts in round three. So we really should look to try and lock down a wide receiver. So it's a toss of the coin, but given, looking at ADP, And I guess runs on the board would definitely lean us towards Diggs. So I'm going to pick Diggs. I don't think we'll get Wilson, although we could. So this is the next thing is, we predicted that we probably wouldn't be able to get Garrett Wilson. I would have thought that, that would be taken here. But one thing I have found with Roto Baller is it's very heavy on running backs in these drafts. I don't know why. Maybe I should change out of PPR and give it a go. But so now we've got a decision. We can either get another gun wide receiver in Garrett Wilson, or we can get a gun quarterback in Mahomes or even Hurts, who honestly I probably prefer over Mahomes. But given we can probably get something still fairly decent on the 4-5 turn, I'm actually going to go with Garrett Wilson. So I'm going to draft Wilson. Got myself, a second gun wide receiver. You can see Mahomes and Hurts have gone in the third round. Go the long way around. So you can see a lot more wide receivers coming off the board here. So the fact that we've been able to bank two is really nice. We'll just go back to the draft board for a bit to have a look. So, yeah, so you can see all the teams that we thought were probably going 0 RB have since got an RB in. So it's probably not the best example. We'll probably do a video with a proper 0 RB strategy. And yeah, so let's have a look. So there's the third tight end just gone off the board. Lamar Jackson's gone off the board. So let's have a look. If we do want to try and get ourselves a quarterback. It keeps saying we want running backs. We don't necessarily want that for overall value. But if you have a look at the wide receivers available, so you can see we've still got the likes of DJ Moore, who's available, DeAndre Hopkins, Jerry Jeudy. So these are all wide receiver ones at their particular teams. Terry McLaurin, also RB1. Chris Godwin could be RB1. Christian Watson, RB1. So definitely lots of RB1s to look at. So we might try and grab ourselves a nice quarterback, I think, at this point. And if it plays out the way I hope it will, I don't think it will. But we'll try and get on Justin Fields with the hope that we can actually stack with DJ Moore. Actually, what's the rankings? 59. So actually what we might do is we'll grab DJ Moore this round. And yeah, Chris Godwin went, and who else? George Kittle, so tight end, lovely. So now that it's come back around, we can actually go in and get ourselves Justin Fields. So I'll just let the auto draft thing play out. But essentially what we've done here is we've created what we call a stack. So we've stacked a quarterback with a wide receiver, in this case, the wide receiver one. So you'd imagine that if Justin Fields is going to throw, that his target would most likely be DJ Moore. So when DJ Moore scores, you actually score twice because you get the passing yards from Fields as well as the reception and the yards from DJ Moore. Might not be the best example of a stack, if I'm being honest, but just wanted to highlight that in there as well. Looking at stacks is a nice way to really sort of boost your weekly score on a week-to-week basis. But if you have a look at the rest of it, you can see, quite a few running backs still coming off the board. There's, Christian Watson, Drake London, probably a wide receiver one at Atlanta. Also, you'll notice a lot of the gun tight ends have gone. So, for that reason, we might have to just, leave tight ends because after particularly Dallas Goedert and Darren Waller, Kyle Pitts could be included in that tier. But then, it really drops down in terms of value. And so it's probably not worth stressing about too much. So what we're going to try to do from here on in is continue to probably flesh out our bench. We might try and find a nice running back to fill in that spot too. All right, so if you have a look, it says the team needs a running back, but that's just because it's not there. And look at Montgomery, James Cook, Javonte Williams is pretty handy to get as a second pick. But given his rank and his ADP, is about 80. And what are we at in the draft? We're still in the 70s, and you look at the likes of the team before us probably still needs a quarterback, maybe getting desperate to pick one of them, and they're light on in the wide receiver sort of thing as well. It's probably in our best interest to actually grab another wide receiver. So if we have a look at what's available, we've got Brandon Ayuk, Mike Williams could be an interesting shout, Christian Kirk. All right, but I'm actually going to skip down a few because the player that I am interested in is Deontay Johnson. So I'm going to draft him. All right, and it comes back around the corner. So let's see, who did Little Red Fournette draft? So as we predicted, a quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, and then had to grab Brandon Ayuk. So we've probably got some value there. But now we're back in, round 7. We'll go down, get running backs. And as I said, we could get Cook and Montgomery. I'm not overly convinced on. But I think Javonte Williams is a good pick. So I'm going to grab him and we'll go off. And once we get it back around, we'll pause the video and just have a bit of a look or pause the draft, I should say, and have a look where we're at. So I guess as well, obviously this is auto sort of simulating, so it is picking pretty much straight away. But particularly if you're in these sort of spots and, you've got 30 seconds for each player to pick, this adds up to be quite a few minutes where you can sit and, adjust your strategy on the go. So, yeah, particularly if you're at these sort of ends, you do have those picks that are quite close together. So you do want to try and work out your picks a couple of steps ahead. But again, as we look through, you know, um, they're sort of just these middling quarterbacks and tight ends going off the board. That's fine. But yeah, if we look at our team in particular at this stage, we've got an upside quarterback in Justin Fields. We've got our hero RB in McCaffrey. We've got, potentially a breakout option in Javonte Williams. And then if we look at our wide receivers, we've got wide receiver through the flex, and even our first bench spot, we've got wide receiver ones, which is really nice. So from here, we've still got 4 bench slots to pick, plus, tight end, kicker, and our defense and special teams. So what I'm thinking here is we'll try to target at least 2 more wide receivers. We'll pick up a spare running back, and then maybe a second quarterback if we can get the one that I would particularly like, which we might have to, we'll pick 2 benchies and then we'll look at the quarterback situation, I think. Um, so in terms of, running backs like these guys, none of these guys are that interesting to me. We'll take what we can get. Wide receivers, so Michael Thomas, if he can stay fit, he's a nice option. Jackson Smith Najiba. Okay, I don't remember how you say that. JSN, let's go with. He's someone that could, start the season slow, but build into the season. So this is the sort of pick we want for our bench. I'm just gonna have a quick look at the quarterbacks to see if the target I want is still a little bit away. So we'll risk it, I think. What's the numbers like? Maybe not. All right. So is there a second wide receiver we really want in this target? Not necessarily. So what we might do is we'll grab ourselves JSN as a bit of an upside play, go around the corner. Just make sure he hasn't been picked. So Gabe Davis, Traylon Burks are gone. Actually, I might just do a quick check. How many more teams? There's one. So there's only one more team that is chasing a QB1. So we might actually risk it. And we'll go Michael Thomas. So bring him in. So, we've got nice cover with our wide receivers on the bench. As it goes around, let's have a look. Kirk Cousins has gone off the board. Daniel Jones. we might get my man. So let's just have a look. It's always hard because you don't see the last pick. Aaron Rodgers, but that's again not the quarterback we were chasing. So we get to QB and we're going to pick up Anthony Richardson as our backup quarterback. So a nice upside play. He's a mobile quarterback, which means he gets the rushing yards as well as the passing. Being a rookie, it's fair to suggest that he probably will start slow, but it takes time for these guys to build up in the NFL. Um, so we'll back him in, and in situations where we can't play Justin Fields, we'll back him in with his upside. So Charbonnet and Dolcic have gone off the board. All right, so we're down to our last four picks. All right, tight end, kicker, and special teams or defense and special teams. All right, so we should have a look at what tight ends are available. It looks like there's a few to choose from still. Um, Interested to see because there's one that doesn't even appear to be on this list that's quite interesting. We might dig them out of the basement. All right, so basically, because we're not going for a tight end that we're banking on, and we're probably going to look at streaming our tight ends potentially, or using the waiver wire to churn through them throughout the season. Um, we're going to leave that till the very last pick. So normally, what would happen is you'd probably go defense and kicker in the last two rounds in that order. But what we're going to try to do is get a bit of an advantage by picking up a defensive team that one extra round early, kicker an extra round early, and then we're not worried about the tight end because at this stage, their projection, if you see like Gerald Everett's 116, Okonkwo's 116, Kincaid's 110. If we compare that to defense and special teams, like the likes of New England 133, 115, it's the same number. So, we can try to pick up the teams that we want in those, or the people we want in those spaces, and the tight end, we can just forget about at this stage. In saying that, we probably do want a running back for the last running back. And I guess in terms of upside, the one that I like that's quite late is Elijah Mitchell. So we'll bring him in, and also with Elijah Mitchell, he provides what we call a handcuff. So for Christian McCaffrey. So if McCaffrey's out, obviously Elijah Mitchell is the next in line. So he'll be the one that takes all of that, goal line work and all that, all the running back work essentially that Christian McCaffrey does. And can still probably, get some work done before. So you can see a couple of other teams here as well have jumped early on the defense. So they've been listening to me during this video. But yeah, like I said, we're going to ignore tight end. We're going to go to the defense. Um, and I guess one of the most consistent teams you can see last year, they got 167 points, is the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm super happy to draft them. And, I probably won't have to churn and burn the waiver wire too much for streaming the defense. So we'll go to kicker next. We just have a quick look at the log, not the log, sorry, the draft board. So they've gone a kicker early with Zane Gonzalez. There you go. So kickers, I don't really have too much of a preference, to be honest. You can see, like if you look at their projections, like Carlson did well last year, but their projections are all very similar. So I guess ideally you want a team that's going to score a lot of points, or at least get themselves in enough good positions. So Evan McPherson from the Bengals, I'm happy to pick him. So let's get him in. All right, and then as it goes around, all right, we're going. We know that we need a tight end. So if you go right around, so tight end, and we'll just pause the video so we can go through. So you can see that when we look at the options, there is actually still a couple of nice options, even though this is the last round. We've got Sam Laporta, who is a rookie. but is well hyped up. The Detroit Lions, used to have TJ Hawkinson, so they don't mind throwing to a tight end. So, I think he could outscore his projection quite nicely. Hayden Hurst is another one that's been talked about as a bit of a tight end sleeper. Um, apparently, the Carolina coach is offensive coach or head coach, one of the coaches, anyway, in charge of the attack, has been known to, have a style of play that targets tight ends. So, there's an option there. Um, yeah, so Dawson Knox is questionable. Zach Ertz. So these guys have done the job in the past, but for whatever reason, they're not there. And then he still doesn't seem to be on here. So we'll see if we can search him up. So Luke Musgrave, and we'll probably just draft him so we can have a look at him. It's not going to let me do it. All right, so the draft's finished. You can see it's ranked as second in terms of expected points. So, that's a pretty good result. Means we've drafted okay. As I said, this isn't necessarily the greatest algorithm. And also, if we're sort of valuing players higher than what they're projected, that's obviously going to impact it as well. But, they think we've done well. So if we have a look at the results, that just breaks down the projections, breakdown. So the rosters, yeah, so my tight end, I can't see him. But anyway, Luke Musgrave at Green Bay, there's been a bit of chat about him, but he obviously seems way down the projections. So I guess he's one you don't even necessarily have to draft. I mean, based on what was on the board, maybe I could have gone with Sam Laporta. And if there was an injury or something, and I could bring in another tight end, maybe then I'd bring Musgrave off the waiver wire, or just have a free look, that sort of thing. But yeah, so if we review, we've gone the hero RB strategy. So our hero being Christian McCaffrey. We did manage to get ourselves a nice little stack with Justin Fields and DJ Moore. Wide receiver one, quarterback. That's usually the premium stack you want because, as we said, when they hit their target, the quarterback scores points, the wide receiver scores points. You score double points. We also got ourselves our handcuff. So Elijah Mitchell, is tied to Christian McCaffrey in that they're both running backs at the same club, the same team. So if McCaffrey goes down injured, Elijah Mitchell is just going to come in and you can just straight swap them. You don't have to go to the waiver wire. So all in all, this was actually a pretty good draft. I did go in with the strategy and just happened to come off nicely. Things like our wide receiver core, Diggs, Wilson, Moore, Johnson, four wide receivers, one couple of upside shouts with JSN and Michael Thomas. Backup quarterback, we've got two mobile quarterbacks, which is really nice. I do like a mobile quarterback. And yeah, sort of back in the rookie tight ends to do just as well as some of the other options that people drafted earlier. All right, but we'll wrap this video up there. As I said, that's um, the hero RB strategy. In upcoming videos, we'll look at things like the zero RB strategy, the I'll look at salary cap strategy as well, and maybe also a super flex strategy when quarterbacks become a bit more valuable. Um, but yeah, if you enjoy the NFL content, feel free to give us a comment and tell me below. Give us a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. As I said, there's more NFL content coming, and once the season starts, there'll definitely be more content week to week. But other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.